What's up, y'all? So, Film Convert just emailed me today, and they're letting me try out their beta version of their Film Convert Nitrate. I downloaded it. I'm already playing with it. So, one of the only things that kind of bugged me about the previous version, like I love Film Convert, period. It's changed the way my work looks. I use it on everything. Previously got the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, long name I know, and I use DaVinci Resolve mainly now, but I have a couple more projects that I have to wrap up in Premiere Pro. Then after that, I'll probably be ditching Premiere Pro and staying in DaVinci Resolve. That's for another video. Let's jump into Nitrate now. So, as you see, it looks a little bit different. It's a little more cleaned up. You can see even like the choose camera, the menu looks a little nicer now. So little things like that I like. So again, one of the previous things that kind of always bugged me about the software, well, I shouldn't say it bugged me, but it was kind of a thing that you had to kind of work around. Say you pick your film stock. So let's just go through these real quick. So I used to use this Fuji stock a lot, but I've been using this Kodak one a little bit more because the gamma's a little bit lower and it looks a little more filmic to me, at least the way I like filmic things. One of the things that bugged me was if a look was a little bit too baked in, you would have to do a previous adjustment to lower the contrast or to make a decontrast curved. I don't know what the technical term would be for that. Because if you lowered the curve adjustment, it would kind of lose its filmic look, or sometimes it would present certain issues with the highlights and stuff. So again, I would just have to go and do a lumetri adjustment beforehand. You can see I just have the saturation. Actually, we could just turn this off and we'll just do everything for Film Convert right now. Again, previously, you would have to do this. You'd have to put a previous adjustment on there and kind of adjust the image a little bit more. Well, now, if the look looks a little bit too baked in for you, again, we'll do the curve adjustment just so you can see. See, it kind of loses its whole Film Convert look. But now they have this print film emulation. And also, again, this is a beta version of the software, so they could be adding new things on it. They're going to be enhancing it most likely. The whole reason software gets released as beta version so people can test it and find the bugs and put in things that they think might make it better, you know. So again, they might be adding more stuff, but again, so this is the beta version. But so again, we just saw the curve adjustment, and you see it kind of loses its vibe. But now if you go to this print film emulation adjustment, it kind of just mixes the log footage back into the Film Convert. So you see, this is the log footage, and then we'll do before and after. So that's the log, and then that's with the Film Convert on it, with the log still on there. So this just opens up a whole grip of new like things you could do with this, just like with the software alone. You don't have to use the other stuff as much anymore. So this is overexposed a little bit. Well, it's not overexposed, but it's super high contrast situation. So go lower that exposure. I'm going to bump my temperature way up. The artist loves the warm temps, and I love the warm temps. That's why we get along so well. So we'll just do the tint, put the greens down a little bit. We go and we bump the saturation up. That's for the grain. We'll go over that in a second. Let me just close that down for now. Let's bump up the saturation. Get a little more color up in there. Let's see. Can I actually turn this up a little? Sorry guys, I'm running on a 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro, and you guys know this thing thermal throttles, whatever they call it. So as soon as it starts warming up, fans kick on, and the thing slows down. So I got an iMac, but I don't know why I'm not shooting on the iMac. I don't know what I'm doing. So just warm up the highlights a little bit. Put some color, shadows. Let's drop these shadows down a little bit. Warm up these mids just a little bit. So I'm going extra warm with that. Let's see. The curve adjustments, I believe the curves are now luminosity based. So let's see. Yeah, so it shouldn't affect saturation as much. think. Could be wrong on that. Or from what I just did, it doesn't look like it affected the colors too much. See, so this is the whole point. Again, before you would have to do previous adjustments to tweak the thing. I mean, you can still do that if you really want to get into it. Watch, we'll just zero this out. So again, before I would have to go into the curves and lower the curves, and you see it loses its whole vibe. So with the print film emulation, I could mix in the log footage a little bit more, and then I can put in my own contrast adjustments. I can control a little bit more. So let's just dial this in. Let's get them highlights down a little bit more. Let's lower the blacks down a little bit. So let's stick it there. So let me try lowering the temp and then going back into color wheels and putting, I was losing some of my blues in there. So highlights down from here. So again, I've switched to DaVinci Resolve, and I still use Film Convert on every single clip. It's like my go-to thing. So if I was in DaVinci, I would be able to make windows or just grab the highlights and pull the highlights down a little bit more. I mean, there's ways to do that in Premiere, but it's way more intensive. But again, and I think they said at the end of the year, Nitrate will be released for DaVinci, so I'm extra pumped for that. But all right, let's do before and after. So you can see it's the original, and then that's Film Convert. Like really, you could, if this wasn't gonna like, if this was like something that's supposed to be quick turnaround, this would be done. This music video, I can't really play too many clips of it yet because it's not released, but yeah, like again, look how easy that was. Let's see. I could tweak this forever. But let's see. Let's push some shadows a little bit more. Yeah, I'm digging it. All right, let's do one more clip. Let's do one more. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, I'll probably be taking this back into DaVinci to do proper color grading on here. So let's go over this clip. See, on here, this was shot on the Fujifilm X-T3 in log. I think this lens was the 50 f2. And the ISO is probably like 3200, so you can see it looks fairly clean with neat video on. But yeah, let's just do before and after. So you see that's the log, and then with the Film Convert Nitrate. So again, we go in the film settings, and you can see I have this turned down to 67%. We could reset this. So again, contrast a little bit too high. I would have to previously go in and tweak this, lower the contrast, maybe bump the exposure or lower it and lift the shadows up more. Present more noise, and then I would try to lower the curves on here, and you see it just pushes it all over the place. But now I could just mix in the log footage a little bit more, and look, all of a sudden you got way more control. So you see that looks a lot more better than doing it with the curves or making previous adjustments. And the less you could do your footage, the better, especially when you're shooting in log anything. I don't care if it's ProRes or whatever it is. If you're shooting a log, the less you could do to it, the better. If you're shooting a RAW, you could push that thing all over, especially if it's like 12-bit RAW or anything up above that. Yeah, guys, I am loving this nitrate stuff. Let me see right here. So those are just the color wheels I put onto it. So I got my highlights way up in these yellowish greens. Midtones are cooling down a little bit. Shadows are cooling down a little bit. Let's see what happens. Ooh, I like that more. Oh yeah. And you can see how the film on there is tweaking it too. I mean, even without the color, the color wheels, like that still looks pretty solid. But yeah, y'all know, like my saturation. You can see what I did with the color wheel or the curves over here. Let's just play around with this a little bit. Let's boost these greens up in the highs and drop them back in the shadows. So you can always do something like that too. I'm just having fun with it now. But yeah, guys. Again, that's just the beta software. They might be adding more stuff to it. They'll probably be tweaking stuff. So far, it's running smooth. Zero issues with it. I haven't got to go in and mess with the grain response yet. Basically, you could tune the grain, the softness, the size, the strength, the saturation. You could do the curves on you only want the grain in the highlights or just in the shadows. So say if you're shooting very grainy footage or noisy footage, as you say. You could probably take it out of the shadows a little bit and put it more in the highlights so it looks a little more filmic if you already have a bunch of grain in the shadows. But I would run Neat Video if you're in DaVinci Resolve. It has built-in noise reduction. So, but yeah, guys, that's just a little quick overview of it. If they do any updates or anything, or on other projects, whenever it's out for DaVinci Resolve, I'll do another video. So yeah, please.